Hey, Boaz here with Next Pittsburgh. We've got another installment of Yinzer Backstage Pass. Right now I am underneath the Monongahela Incline, and we've got some folks who are going to tell us all about what is happening underneath here. This is Adam, who's the spokesperson for Port Authority. So, Adam, where are we right now?
Right now, we are behind the tracks, underneath the tracks of the Monongahela Incline at the lower station.
And I know we've got Sean over here, who's the head of maintenance over here. So can you tell us, there's tons of buttons, there's switches. What should I not be pushing right now?
Anything. No, what we use these components for is underneath the car themselves, there are pistons. And attached to the pistons are the cables. There's two cables that run the incline. One is a safety cable, the other one's a haul cable. And when the weather changes, the cable expands and contracts, and if there's too much slack in the cable, we need to get that slack out, or the cable will actually slip on the drive wheels.
How long have you worked here?
I worked with the Port Authority 20 years.
Wow.
So I've been at the incline roughly 6 to 7 years.
And I mean, having worked at other places in Port Authority, this is pretty unique because it feels like it's half museum, half actual functioning machine.
It is, and we have to obey by the Historical Society, plus make revenue, make sure people get transported safely up and down every day.
Well, maybe this is a good segue to try to get on one of these cars and ride to the top. Are you coming with us?
Yes, I'll come along.
Now, Adam, I've keep seeing your name in the news with the bridge collapse. I was like, so it must be a busy time for you. And so maybe this is a good time to ask, what about not building another bridge and just building 2 inclines in Fern Hollow?
Well, I think a bridge in that area is probably better.
Well, sure, that seems like maybe, some standard thinking. I'm just trying to get a little creative over here.
It's definitely creative.
That's the official statement from Port Authority. You heard it here.
It's definitely a creative idea. Looks like we just missed the car, so we'll be waiting for the next one to come down.
But we've got this awesome historic photography that Sean was pointing out earlier. So I guess pre-incline, this was the way to get to the top here.
It was lots of steps, lots and lots of steps. I'm glad that we don't have to use that anymore.
Wow. And then earlier, also up until the 1930s, there was a freight incline right next door to this incline.
Yeah, it was the Monongahela Freight Incline.
If something happens, if you have something break down here, who do you call? Because it's not like when a bus breaks. Okay, they're still building buses. What do you do when something breaks here?
Well, it gets pretty tough because the schedule we have on this west car, the upper compartment is our ADA compartment. And when that gets down, we have to reach out. Adam gets involved. While we're working, the maintenance crew's working on the incline, they have to run shuttle buses. And if the incline isn't running altogether, shuttle buses can get very expensive every day.
Is there a funicular or incline expert somewhere in the world that when something breaks, you call them up and you're like, we need a new weird cog and no one else makes it?
No, our maintenance team works along with the engineering department real well, and we can get most of the information we need and handle it within house.
A lot of times you'll see that we'll actually have to fabricate parts, or we'll have to get very creative. We did a door replacement about 2-3 times. We were talking earlier.
Pandemic time.
Pandemic time has messed us all up. A few years ago, but they actually use the automatic doors that slide in and slide over. That's the type of doors that they're using, grocery store doors basically, on the cars. You'll see that they slide open. There are cars on the doors, and there are also cars in the doors in the station.
Speaking of which, John, if you want to flip around, we can see this. Wait, is this the west car, you said?
Yes, this is the west car comes down, and if you look on the side of the car, there's some rubber flaps. And what they'll do, they'll trigger a switch that we call the in-house switch. It's a rocker switch. And as that trips that switch, the drive motor shut down, and theoretically the thresholds from the platform and the car should be even.
How many people are riding the incline in a year?
Pre-COVID, roughly 800,000 people a year.
Wow. And do you have a sense of how many people were riding it 100 years ago?
Well, it all started because we produced 50% of all the steel in the United States, 1/3 of all the glass. And we got a lot of German immigrants came in to work in the plants. They ran out of places to live down here in the city itself. So they went up onto Mount Washington, and they needed a way to get down. And it's been the incline since 1870, transporting people.
And so, as people know, there are two inclines side by side, or not too far away here in Pittsburgh. And so what are the... Oh, John's doing something fancy up there. Cool. Okay. So can you give us the sort of the differences between the Mon and the Duquesne incline?
The Mon Incline was basically for transporting people. Since 1870, it's been transporting people from where they live to the destination to where they work. So the Duquesne Incline is more of a historical ride. It starts at the top of Mount Washington, but where it ends up is basically on Carson Street.
Yeah.
So
Sort of at a parking lot.
Exactly what it is, a parking lot.
So that's a vote for the Mon Incline, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, you work here.
We're gonna vote for the Mon Incline every time. We Port Authority owns both, but we operate them on. The Duquesne is operated by a nonprofit society that does excellent work. But obviously, I think we're partial. It's also it's easier to get to from downtown.
What has changed in this incline since 1870?
A lot.
Yeah.
And being a government entity, contracts can only come up at certain times. There's only so much money, but we do have to abide by, we do get inspected twice a year by the elevator division out of labor and industry out of Harrisburg.
It's like, I imagine those people come and they're like, I don't know if this is working or not. Like they're barely inspecting any incline.
Well, they got a real strong background, the inspectors, because they have to do all the ski lifts, like out at Seven Springs and everything. So we fall under a category called a funicular. We had to do a 7-year load test, it's called. And we had to actually stack over 5,000 pounds in one car to create the largest imbalance you can, and then put it through its most extreme braking system through a procedure that was drawn up by the engineers.
Are they just putting cinder blocks on there? Or
No,
what?
actually we used bags of salt. That was the easiest thing to use to get on and off. But yeah, we put it through the test. We hammered her pretty good, and she came out with flying colors.
Gosh, well, nice work. And I know, in your 50-year plan, like there's been talk of like maybe we'll have some more inclines in Pittsburgh.
There's been talks of more inclines in Pittsburgh. There have been talks of a cable car system. I think that we're Port Authority's open to a lot of things as long as it gets people from where they want to go and to where they want to be.
Yeah, maybe like the Mon submarine route eventually, hot air balloon.
We are Port Authority, but we have no port, so maybe one day.
Just a little tidbit information. The span of the trackway on here is roughly 5 feet, where the freight elevator was 12 feet. The trackway is 635 feet long. It's at a 35-degree angle. So when we do change the cables out, which is every 5 years, we're talking almost 2,000 feet of cable.
What do you do with that other cable? Make a lot of necklaces?
No, it gets cut up and then recycled.
Gotcha.
You can ride it on a daily basis. I don't ride it on a daily basis, but you can. And the view doesn't get old. The ride doesn't get old. It's a really special, unique thing that we have in Pittsburgh. It's great.
Do you ride the incline at least once a day?
I better. We have to make sure it's safe. We have a walkthrough inspection in the morning, which is we have to stay in compliance with the state. While we're walking into the main upper lobby, this is an operator that runs the incline. His name's Mario, and he's been running this a long time. So if you have any operator questions, that's the man you want to talk to.
Okay, good to know. Teach us how to run an incline.
Okay, this is the incline. These are all controls. These been here probably. So we're going to lock the doors there. First thing you do is you're going to lock the lower door. So we look in the camera, lower is closed, and now we're going to hit the joystick. This is like Kennywood. You run it up and you run it down all day.
Just like a little video game.
Like a video game, So you push on this joystick like this, and it's going to go down. And then when it gets to the bottom, it catches more speed. So it goes real slow out of the house. And once it gets past the house, it'll pick up more speed. It's a safety feature. Okay, so then we let go.
And that's all you have to do. Wait, so there's no like east car down.
No, this is you go by the west car.
Oh, so the west car is sort of like calling the shots.
Call the shots. So that's what you look for. When the lower car is below, you bring it up. When it's up here, you send it down. So you don't go by the east car. You go by the west car.
And then here we're gonna see something that very few people ever get to see, the inner workings of the Monongahela Incline, how it works. Here you have the incline is moving right now, as you can see, because the pulley is moving. So if you get underneath, you'll be able to see there is the cable that's being let out. These are the actual motors that are allowing the cable to move on the west car, and then it counterbalances on the east car.
Got some local products here, some Westinghouse.
The cable in this room is only the haul cable. This is the cable that actually does the lifting of the cars. It comes through these large wheels we call deflector shivs, and over here against the wall you can see it's almost like a serpentine that it wraps around the traction shivs, like basically a serpentine belt on your car motor.
And so, like, are you coming up here with a bunch of WD-40 to make sure everything's running smoothly, or what?
No, we have to change our gearboxes. This red unit here that you see is actually the gearbox. We change the oil in that every 6 months. We do our routine lubing of the cable.
Gosh, well, thank you so much for the tour. This was amazing. I feel like we made it from bottom to top.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we can go into one last area. I could show you where the safety cable actually runs.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And basically, it's like a disc brake on the front of your car.
Oh my gosh, John, I'm going to let you poke your head in there as Sean describes what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's basically our safety cable. That's the backup cable if we ever had any problems with our haul cable. The units that you see sitting on top of those disc wheels is basically, like I said, the front disc brakes on your car.
If you ever get nervous riding the incline, just think about the safety cable, which is just keeping you extra safe.
Yes, exactly. People get the false impression that, oh my goodness, if the cable breaks, we're in trouble. No, actually, there's actually 2 heavy-duty cables for this. This last spot here, you might find interesting. This is how we get out to do our maintenance on the tracks.
Oh, wow, we are just like right out there right now. That's crazy.
So if you look up to your right a little bit, that's where we go out and work on the collectors that we were speaking about earlier that supply power to the car. And then we have 2 other departments we coordinate our efforts with for the changing of the cable, which would be our overhead department, and the replacement of the rail or the ties, which falls under our way department. They're our heavy equipment department. So we don't do everything here ourselves. We're basically like the car mechanic, and then if we need specialists, we reach out to our other departments.
Wow, very cool. Gosh.
What was that? I want to get photos. This is by far, I don't get to see it often enough, but my favorite door in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Even Adam's excited to see it. Well, on that note, let's end with this high. Thank you so much for showing us around, Sean and Adam. This was so cool to see.
Yeah, and for a lot of organizations out there, just reach out to the Port Authority and to Adam, and I'm sure they can actually set up a small tour for certain groups. More people to get familiar with the place, the more important it is to the Pittsburgh area, and they can understand a little bit more about the incline.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks so much. See you next time.